All right, we're hello everyone. So yeah, there's a bit of like confusion for us, but I presume the tournament is now ongoing. Oh, actually, they have not started. Lol. Ah well, pre-introduction, I guess. Then
Yup, all right. Hello everyone, good evening. Now should be like the last bracket before we get into finals, essentially semi-finals for this.
yeah, let's just chill and chat for a bit because I don't think they have officially begun yet.
Yeah. Aside from the tournament, how was your day today? How was work? Because we
I
are
don't
starting the
have to
stream in
work,
the
so I was
evening.
just playing around today with
Ah.
my friends. And how about you?
Today I basically did the same thing, did played Gartic Phone with my friends, a bit of cooperation games. We played a bit of Pico Park, and then we completely screamed over it. And I also studied a little bit. That's
Yup,
about it.
definitely. All right, yeah. So let's just chill and chat and wait for their stream to begin. And once their stream begins, I am going to head into stream mode. All right, so
Yep.
I'm going to deafen for a bit and wait for them to begin. All right.
Mm-hmm. Hello? Hello? Audio testing? Hello? Okay, I can see my
Hello?
mic lighting up.
Is this working now?
Hello. Oh yeah,
Hello?
I can hear it.
Yeah, okay, hello. So, yeah, there was a bit of emergency audio issues, but I guess we figured that out for now. And now let's move on to the like brackets we see here as Write Your Story and Sky are in the 3-0 brackets.
Yeah.
HLT, FCMN, and Wolfgang are in the 3-1 brackets.
Yeah, and tonight we'll be determining who ends up in the 3-2 pool and who will be dropping out. Or will be losing this tournament.
Yep, so tonight is going to determine the last 3 teams of joining the bracket here. So we definitely should keep our eyes peeled on what is going to be potentially happening here.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, right now our brackets that we're gonna see is we're gonna see CC versus PPD and MT versus NE. And then we're gonna see ES versus Gal.
Yep, one thing to note, it's very interesting with CC and PPD is that for CC, they actually, if you notice here, they actually won 2 matches in a row, and they lost 2 in a row, so they went from 2-0 to 2-2. And meanwhile, PPD lost their first 2 matches and was in the brink of elimination, but they won 2 matches in a row to get themselves back up to 2-2. So these 2 clashes between 2 teams with 2 completely different paths is going to be very interesting.
Absolutely, we're basically gonna be seeing like an underdog story versus a fall from like an originally really high spot on the brackets. Let's see how they play this off. Will CC be able to actually pull back the kind of plays that they were managing to do in the first 2 matchups that they have, or will they drop out here? Again, this is a team that has named themselves completely after Zeta, so...
Oh, yep, so we have Dolly Sue, Peter, Hametu, Shinami, and yeah, it's gone by too fast. So for the PVD team here, we have Baby T, Domus, Aquaria, and some Japanese and Thai names that I cannot pronounce to save my life.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're just gonna have to refer to them by the characters that they play during the matches themselves. We apologize.
So yeah, but anyways, as we were talking before, PVD and CC, like one team went from 2-0 to 2-2, and one team went from 0-2 to 2-2, so these 2 teams having a completely different path may change things significantly, and it would be interesting to see how the 2 teams play, as now they're going to be at the same ground, and only one team can advance between these 2 teams then.
Yup, if they lose here, they lose the rest of the tournament. It's not like the rest of their matches where they've had other backup chances, because no, they're on their last life now. And now we're gonna get into the band picks. We're seeing that they've chosen actually Chinatown with PPD on Hunter.
Yep, Antiquarian will be the first band over here. It seems like they do not want any battling type of hunters. And I don't know why this Antiquarian, and it's mainly because I've also seen the smiley face in either today. I don't know why this gives us a little bit of smiley face vibes, but there's still just the basic Goatman, which is always possible here. As okay, Knight we're gonna be seeing, and let's see what will Kataneko be selecting next.
Aside from Knight, we're gonna see Puppeteer, 2 very stable kiters, and Knight is also a rather stable rescuer here, so they should be fine in terms of team stability as long as they don't pick an especially weak character that requires support, like Mechanic.
So let's see, Puppeteer, just like a prevention of... Psychologist. Does not like tanky survivors. I mean, it's still Goatman because Goatman does not like these 2 here. So this is still possible, but we are seeing Professor. Oh, so they are prepared against a Goatman. Probably we can see Enchantress or like... Oh, Mechanic, yeah, there's always the standard mechanic trick.
It's a standard mechanic, but the issue is, look at their comp. They barely have anything for support. Of course, Professor can give skills to the mechanic, but again, that's based on the mechanic's own skill. Can she balance everything? Can Dolisu's mechanic balance kiting as well as timing the skills?
Well, we see that it actually got swapped into Hametu here, but I mean, anything is still
Yeah.
is still possible though, because the thing is that if it's a Goatman, then his scale can use to like block one's normal attack hit outside the cage, which is going to be very useful because we do see that some Goatman players like to like also like occasionally land normal attack hits when the survivor gives like room and distance. And the good thing with the professor is that it sort of negates that. So that is one thing that we should definitely keep note of in this game. But that is if Domus does choose the Goatman, because he can totally go for other hunters.
Yeah, aside from against Goatman, this team doesn't really fare. At least the professor might not fare well against other hunters.
Well, now we're going to be looking for Domus's selection. And let's see what would it going to be. Would it be the Goldman or because the thing is that Opera Singer is actually very strong at this map, and I feel like
Mm-hmm.
Opera Singer is completely playable considering that there is the mechanic spot, the professor.
Yeah, aside from there we have it. We're seeing an opera singer because feel like I feel like this combo, especially the knight and the professor, might be a little no, the puppeteer might be a little bit too much of an issue for the goat man.
So yeah. So first of all, I think that Opera Singer we can is very like decent against this team comp. The mechanic in theory cannot last long. The professor's skills can be baited out. So it's really only like relying more on the knight and puppeteer. And if we're really looking at the team comp, it's really the Opera Singer is better. Because while observing IVL, like we know that Goatman is the more preferred hunter in BO1, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I have to play Goatman BO1 because Goatman can also get free escape or tied by very strong hunters or rather very strong survivor team comp, which sometimes swapping hunters may be the better case here.
Yeah, and usually and just because a hunter is strong doesn't mean the others aren't capable of actually pulling it off anyways, as long as the hunter plays their abilities and their chases correctly. They've gone for an L spawn point, but leaving the mechanic here, she's probably gonna get chased first, and there's not much time for her to hide the bot. The problem here would be actually finding somewhere where she wouldn't get stranded out in the open while simultaneously hiding her bot. If I remember correctly, the closest locker to hide her bot in is somewhere around here, though.
Yeah, but the thing is that if the mechanic have time to hide for the bot? Because the thing is that between the opera singer and the mechanic, this is going to be like a one straight line dash towards. So I'm not sure if that is going to be working, or would that even work in theory? The mechanic probably have to make a run for like drop the bot and instantly make a run for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You talk for a bit. I'll see who's in the chat.
All right. So aside from managing her bot, the mechanic would also have to manage how she's gonna route because in this kind of spawn point, her only proper sustainable route, if she manages to kite for long enough, would be to run straight into her teammates. Running to the other side, running to the bottom left corner of the map wouldn't be viable because of how little pallets there are to work with, and as we know, pallet spamming is the way to counter Opera Singer. With her decreased pallet dropping speed, looping isn't exactly the best of an option either, since by the time she vaults a short pallet, she'd have already gotten hit by the Opera Singer. Her only option is to okay, there we go. We're back in. Her only option would be to go for the longer pallets. Right now, we're already seeing the opera singer immediately has line of sight on the mechanic. She does choose to go upstairs, though, which buys her some time because that pallet should force the opera singer out of shadow mode, and then she's actually choosing to go down the stairs. The opera singer is gonna cut her off here, but because of broken windows, the mechanic is able to go back to a nearby pallet. She will actually does not take a hit here, but does put down the bot. I think that might have been intentional from the opera singer's part, turning her camera just enough to avoid the bot. And now the bot is down, way too close to the hunter for a comfortable range. The mechanic, luckily enough, will not go down to a drop hit, so that means a few more extra seconds, but the bot will probably go down. Yeah, the bot will probably be hit by the opera singer here, meaning it's only good for one more body block. It's no more good for a proper cipher, and the other ciphers are at 70. Jong, are you there? Okay, hold on, I'll continue. Now we're actually seeing the knight come in almost immediately for a rescue. This is fine considering one of the ciphers is already about to
Rất
pop.
là
Two of
ngọt
the
đến từ
ciphers
vị
are
trí
already
của
about to
Shinami.
pop.
Hoàn toàn bắt bài vị trí của Dom.
Uh,
Và Dom bây giờ đang muốn
hả?
chặn đầu. Đô lý sư vẫn chưa thả robot nha. Vậy là vẫn muốn dùng con robot này của mình để đỡ đòn. Với một con Hunter đánh tay thì đây là một chuyện có thể gọi là làm được.
Right click NTT, Jong. Right click NTT. To mute him. Yeah, there it is. Okay, sorry, I got knocked out of focus a bit here. And after getting a successful rescue, the ciphers are down to 3, and I cannot see the match. Okay, back. The mechanic did go down rather fast. That is expected, but the
Hello?
cipher machines are already. Hello, I can hear you now.
Yeah, I was trying to speak the that entire time, but you kept talking. And anyways, back into the match here, I can finally talk. So with the mechanic bot being gone, this is actually like not looking at a good situation for the survivors. And that was actually what we were trying to talk before the match here, is that the mechanic is not being very strong against the opera singer and all, and this is exactly a good showcase of the mech will be sent back to the manor, but we have 3 survivors remaining, and which fortunately they're all like almost full health, and though, but yeah, like the thing is the opera singer, and Chinatown is a very strong map for the opera singer to play with, so there's definitely a possibility for the opera singer to go for a free man or more, considering that she can like try to stall and save up her ability to teleport and try and play for free man endgame.
Yeah, that's certainly an option here, but with the last cipher already reaching around 60, and that looks to be the professor here who is still at full health and is also still has his shield up, he should be able to kite for long enough for another cipher to reach at least minimum 60 to 70 before he goes down, as long as he plays his scale correctly.
Yeah, but the first scale is a bit of a miss over there, so this is going to bring the professor in more of danger, but let's see. The professor still has one more hit here. Let's see if he's able to accurately use his hardening scale to block the attack. Going to be close, but not being able to use the hardening scale there, which could have brought him much more time than he is now. Mm-hmm. The professor is going to get chaired, and one thing that we should note though, he does have borrowed time, so that's fortunate news, as the only survivor without borrowed time is the one decoded on the cipher, so... But hold on, Domus is going to be teleporting towards it. And I actually going to be shadow dancing back. I think like here he was not clear on the plan, as he ended up expanding his trait before endgame, and this might haunt him dearly. But we can see that the cipher actually popped amongst all that, as like the puppeteer was forced to block it, to pop it. So actually now this does bring room for Domus to play for a free man.
Yeah, although tactical foresight here, we're actually seeing one of the predictions already goes wrong, and both of them go wrong, and he's probably gonna go down right next to the professor. Successful scale, which buys him a few more seconds, but without anything to work with, he will also go down right next to the professor, which isn't good because ideally in these cases you'd have more distance again to allow that self-heal to properly happen. Since scale is on cooldown, he goes down right away.
Yeah, so this is going to be a free man. Honestly, if you ask me, that pop from the puppeteer was a bit too hasty, because at that point of time the puppeteer was in full health, so there is like literally no reason for the puppeteer to play like that. Like there isn't a reason for him to pop, because the puppeteer can tank a hit, wait for the survivors, and then pop. And instead, now the survivors are in a very bad position, as the puppeteer is looking to try and stall time for the professor to hopefully make it towards the gate, considering that it's already like the professor expanded the exit path. But no, the puppeteer is actually still harassing nearby, and I feel like this is going to cost them like their only one man might even not be because of them getting greedy for no reason over there.
Yeah, honestly, the best play here would have been to actually just leave the gate. He already had the gate open, and clearly the professor did not have any more self-heal. The only option for them was to actually run to the professor manually and heal him up. But the issue with that is, as seen, the opera singer does have detention, and unfortunately, the puppeteer just cannot kite for long enough or cannot get close enough to the professor. It's not a matter of how long he can kite, it's also a matter of his route in order to actually pull off that execute and then kiting back to the gate without either of them dying.
I feel like the survivors made a lot of massive errors. Like the mechanic was fine, but first of all, that pop, there was no reason for the puppeteer to really do a panic pop over there because he was, even though he had no borrowed time, he could have tanked the hit first and then pop because him popping over or because like him over there actually puts both the professor and the knight in danger. And second of all is
that, like, yeah.
And second of all is that after both the knight and professor gone down, the puppeteer charges out, and once he got found and got hit, he still decides to charge towards the chair. But I felt like that was like a very bad decision because there was no way possible for the puppeteer to make it to either the professor or the knight, and they just gave out the last 3-man elimination to a 4-man and just puts even more pressure on content creators Hunter.
Oh yeah, absolutely. This was a total misplay from Team CC Survivors here. And honestly, another thing is that if they didn't panic pop that last cipher, Shadow Downs would have run out of time by the time. Yeah, Shadow Downs, the figure that she could have TP'd back to would have run out of time and would have expired had Opera Singer forced that cipher. And then if he gave up on trying to get a hit on the puppeteer and instead went back to the professor would have borrowed time to work with for the rebound kite.
Yeah, like that could have potentially changed a lot over there. But yeah, that panic pop and just one thing after another, and I think like one of the most detrimental is that them like being not clear in their plan endgame. Is that as soon as like that's a thing that all survivor teams should know. As soon as it's obvious that there's no chance for like a 3-man or like a tie, then don't try and do something that has a very high chance of failing. Because in this situation, there was no way possible for them to get a tie from that out of that like the situation they were in, because the puppeteer is just too far away and really just gave out like chances.
Absolutely. The thing about IDV is that at all costs, you have to avoid a 4-man, even if that means sacrificing the chance to get a tie. Because unless you're absolutely sure and unless you've rehearsed like protocols, plans, etc., to actually pull off getting the tie, you're most likely gonna get 4-man instead.
Yep, definitely. And in this specific situation, we see the case being here. So now the pressure's back onto content creators Hunter to try and get a 4-man elimination back, but it will be very hard. And yeah, considering that this is like a huge blow for content creator too, because they were up 2-0, but now all of a sudden they are in a position where they have a very high chance of getting eliminated if they do not get a 4-man.
Absolutely. Right now, if CC's Hunter does not get the 4-man that they need now, they will be losing this bracket. And even if they do get the 4-man that they need, that will force them into overtime. Right on our first match.
So let's see, Mechanic gonna get banned. This does scream a little bit of Goatman for now, but this is just like very early, so we don't really know just yet. But Seer like probably pull out all the Goldman counters. Seer, Antiquarian, Oscillator Enchantress, Puppeteer, Magician. A lot of possibilities here, as the Priestess will be the next one getting removed.
Yeah, and then Priestess being removed here is honestly just a pretty common ban that I was partially expecting. I was actually expecting her to come before the mechanic, but either or works because of how much mobility and how much decoding progress both of them provide. Team PPD again, since they only need a one escape minimum, they have just gone for an extremely tanky comp that can survive on their own.
Yeah, so that's one thing that we should note of here, though. Let's see, though, Merc can psychologist a tanky team comp, as you mentioned. And so now they're definitely form prepared, like, with this team comp, is that they want to ensure safety. Because safety is probably one of the things that is very prevalent for Team PPD at this point. It's to, like, not have any risk or unexpected situation. So this is why we're going to be seeing this tanky team comp.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And then now that we're waiting for the persona selection, we're seeing that the persona names don't give away much aside from the mercenaries, which is 3-6,
Yeah.
the common build, honestly.
Yeah, like I'm just telling you the antiquarian's name there is called it's called also,
Mm-hmm.
which doesn't get my oh my goodness. Oh yeah, I think if my memory is serving me correctly, I think Peter, like this player named Peter, also played Galatea before. If my memory is serving me correctly here.
Yeah. I'm not sure if I remember the specific match where CC Peter Sculptor came out, but man, Yashi would freak out if he was here right now.
Yeah, Nyashi. Hello, Nyashi. Are you here? Like, do. Hello, Nyashi. Are you here? There's a sculpture match played by Peter, and you're missing it. Come to like the championship tournament real quick. Yeah, I was just trying to call Nyashi. Lol.
Right? Let's just summon Yashi really quickly, totally.
Yeah. Anyways, heading into the game here, like the thing is that the sculptor also does not like tanky survivors, which psychologist is tanky, Seer is tanky. So this is also not looking good. Like considering that Galatea needs a free man, like no a four man here. This is
I think her best choice I think her best choice in terms of like chase here would be to start off with Antiquarian, but because she has more options, because Team PPD knew that they isolated her and basically forced the Galatea to pick, would you rather have less options and take a gamble on the Antiquarian or just go for the safer spawning right in the three?
yeah. The thing though is that for Galatea, like chasing Antiquarian may be a better option, but she's at the other side of the map. Like Peter may be literally forced to go after the Seer, but the Seer can also tank 3 hits in a row too. So this is also not looking good because, like in theory, if the person goes down fast, I think this tournament already established the number one rule against Sculptor. If a survivor goes down too fast against a Galatea and you want just a tie, do not bother rescuing. This is like literally
Yeah,
what we learned by
absolutely. That's
now.
the thing.
Do not bother.
That's the thing. With Galateas, they need to presence farm as much as possible. So that first rescue is especially crucial for them. Not only is the first down, getting the first down fast enough for at least before a round after a little bit after or before insolence pops, that would be good enough for the Galatea. But the other issue is that is the again the first rescue. If she can farm at least one hit until one hit before max presence, she's already set for a winning pace.
Yeah, but that is if she can really get in that situation in the first place, because back to what I was saying, if the first down occurs too fast, they like the survivors can like not even bother to try and rescue because rescuing is gonna give free presence and give the chance of failing rescue. So the best way to deal with it is to not give chance in the first place.
Although we're actually seeing a similar start to the match as previously, we're gonna see Seer take the first kite up into hotel, but rather than looping the hotel itself, the Seer chooses to drop down and then loop the hotel this way, which is honestly not a bad choice, but the fact that he has to counter the statues right there in this enclosed hallway might be a little bit troublesome.
Yeah, well, let's see. Currently, the series just looping around this two-story, but considering that the pallets are gone here, so maybe here want to like take like loop for a bit and then take a hit before transitioning away, because it's not ideal to like transition away too early, or you end up disrupting the cipher in the outward field. But hold on, the seer have to watch out a little bit here. But if it going to wait a bit as he was afraid of getting terror shock. But the owl got chipped away there though. So now Peter does have potential to try to get more, but a beautiful flywheel effect from the seer, able to cut it off a very long time, and this seer's doing a very good job considering that he forced out the warp in still full health.
Yeah, and because of his, even if he goes down here, even if he goes down here without warp and with one cipher already done and the other two at really high progress, if he goes down here, this is already set for a tie pace rather than a win. Although that is a terror shock, and that puts her at full presence for the first chair, meaning that rescuing here probably won't be ideal for them. Basement most likely gonna sacrifice.
Yeah, because considering that all PPD needs is a tie, they don't. My best advice here is do not bother rescuing, because like one thing that I note is that some of the like a less experienced team, they will sometimes try like think like too straightforward and think they have to rescue every time, but that's not necessary. In this case, it's completely and the better option here to not rescue. So that's why we see that the mercenary is propping Tinnitus. It doesn't seem that the mercenary even wants to rescue to begin with.
Yeah, the mercenary probably doesn't want to rescue, but the fact that he's here alone is already enough to scare the hunter. Although this Galatea does have eyes on the psychologist, manages to chip away the full health of her empathy, is probably gonna switch directly to her as soon as Seer is really close. As soon as Seer's chair time expires.
So currently, let's see. One thing to note: this Galatea here does not have trump
forces out flywheel from the psychologist to judge another statue again. One cipher remaining, although manages to get right on the psychologist.
Yeah, but the psychologist here has to be a bit careful though on where she's cutting to not bring it towards where like the Dakota ciphers are. But the survivors did react very fast, because the moment that the psychologist got warped onto, we already see that the mercenary is already popping the last cipher in the long distance. So I think the only chance here is for the hunter Peter to like sniff out the antiquarian and failed and like stuff her, but this did not happen because the antiquarian actually used the opportunity where Peter's using the chisel to instantly go for a sneak rescue, and that is going to be paying off here as this is going to delay another more 20 seconds. But we can see that the ciphers are going to be in a bit of a standstill, as Peter can use like the long range statues to harass the mercenary to just delay even more time.
Although the issue there is that we've seen a missed chisel, and that actually ends up giving the survivors at least a free 30% decoding progress without being able to properly statue off the cipher while going after the psychologist. That guarantees a primed cipher for if they choose to rescue the psychologist here. But again, yeah, the mercenary is coming in for the rescue.
Hold on, he cannot go down.
Trying to stuff him off.
He cannot go down. The cipher's not yet primed. He has to avail a lot of statues. But over here is able to like successfully only take one and pull off the rescue. And pulling off the rescue is good enough considering that both survivors have borrowed time. So now here they're just going to be scattering apart here just to give room for the mercenary to pop towards the gate. And psychologist here, as soon as she goes down, she has to run away from the gate as she does not want to disrupt any gate progress, as the survivors will be choosing the safest option, having two survivors popping different gates to make sure that they're gonna get at least a one escape.
Yeah, it takes a terror shock here, but it doesn't matter because look at the gate that's already done. Even if Galatea manages to go there, it's a mercenary, and even if she has detention, it's not enough to actually chair him before he crawls out. Again, that's a one escape, and that is it for Team CC.
Yep, that is going to be it for Team
Escape. Yeah.
That is going to be it for Team CC. So congratulations to Team PBD for managing to advance and like claw their way back from a 0-2 start into 3-2 with 3 wins in a row, managing to clutch their way in and take one of the last 3 spots. So that's such an amazing performance from PBD, and showed themselves that even if like they had a bad start, they would not give up by getting 3 wins in a row.
Yeah, absolutely. PPD is going to proceed into the finals now, and honestly, well-deserved win from them after losing their first two matches in a row. They climbed back up. If we get to see the brackets again, I'm pretty sure Team PPD went up against the. I'm not sure if Team P. No, actually, no. For the first time, the second time, Team PPD did not go up against one of the three ones or the three zeros.
But moving on to Team CC, like that's a bit unfortunate because they were one match from qualifying, but they took three defeats in a row. So it's unfortunate for them, but
Mhm.
Team CC's journey will end here. And for Team PBD, they did amazing. And the Galatea, like honestly, Galatea getting a four-man with such a tanky team come was very hard to begin with. I'm thinking maybe like if Peter had won, maybe the breaking wheel would have been possible here, but that is really just talking theory, as PPD here is successfully claiming the first match and claiming one of the last three spots. So, yep, there we have it.
Yep.
PPD claims spot number 6, and we still have two more matches to go later on.
Yep, and honestly, even though that match was a tie, it was still really close. All it came down to, genuinely, in my opinion, that match really came down to that one failed chisel that prevented the Galatea from properly pressuring the last cipher from being primed. If the last cipher had not been primed by the time the psychologist had gone down for the rebound, there was a chance for a double down there. And then with Warp, she could have gotten Antiquarian off the gate.
Yeah, but honestly, I feel like the mercenary the rescuing was very good. Good because he evaded on going down. Because just now, as I said, he cannot afford to go down before the cyber is popped. But he did a very good job in evading the Statue of Novelty and making sure that he can pull off the rescue, which secured the downside and also like the safetiness, because as I said, this team comp selected by Team CC is sort of, or Team PPD is to sort of ensure a safety net for themselves, and which in this case it
Mm-hmm.
definitely worked out.
Absolutely. It's just absolutely, that team comp was absolutely an amazing choice from Team PPD. They know how to play their cards right, or in this case, their team comps right, and just went for the most safest option. They know what they don't have to rescue and what they do have to rescue, and then just secured a tie, even though all they needed was a one escape.
Yeah, but anyways, we're gonna head in a quick pause and we'll see everyone after the break. See you in a bit. Alright, so we're back here, and yeah, I'm not gonna swap the screen for now, as probably I want to like uh introduce everyone later on. So just moving on with NE versus MT, and one thing that we should note is that these two teams actually faced off each other like 2 rounds ago. When both teams were at 1-1, no exit match rollers faced off, with no exit managing to get the win. So this is sort of like a revenge match for match rollers here, because like both teams are 1-1. Now both teams are 2-2 standing at the same ground. So this would mean that if match rollers want to qualify, they must show that they're worth it by defeating no exit.
Yeah, Team Mad Trollers will have to get their revenge on Team No Exit here and see if they can actually proceed to the next one. Although both teams do have a slight advantage compared to the other matchups because they do have experience against each other and they know what kind of survivors, what kind of hunters the others will play.
Alright, so for Team No Exit here, we have Bo Bao Tin, Kang, Fang Yuan, Naibu, Chang Yu, and Korone here for No Exit, which like some of those are pretty familiar names here.
And then for Team Mad Trollers, we have Ryu Noob, KZS Noob, Koa Noob, Fang Nao, Koa Prov, JP, and then Duck Noob and Idol.
Yep. So yeah, like these are some pretty familiar names, and like I always remember Matty, the team with like lots of noobs in their name. Maybe that's why they're called the Mad Trollers. But yeah, moving on to this. Currently, as we mentioned, both teams are 2-2. Mad Trollers, like if we're talking in paper terms, Mad Trollers may be the ones a bit behind, just because like they lost to No Exit once before. And so it's like for No Exit to qualify, they must do the same thing again. And for Mad Trollers, they are the ones that are falling behind here, as they have to sort of like, prove their worth by defeating the team that won them before.
Although now, at least they do have some experience against NE's specialty hunters, so they might have thought about that. Let's hope they did some reflection on during the downtimes and actually prepared for this. We're seeing them as survivors. Priestess is the first ban on Chinatown again.
Priestess on Chinatown, and we're probably going to be... No, this is Ever Seeming Town, by the way. Antiquarian, Fire Investigator, some transitional kiting hunters we're seeing over here. Yeah, some transitional kiters, so... yeah, but it does not necessarily, like, it's not necessarily the best one against Hula Baloo, though. So we'll have to still see what's exactly the plan over here.
Right, with the night priestess and night bands and this team comp, honestly, it's pretty tanky, but Fire Investigator might be a little bit risky if he can't place the airbags correctly, although it is much easier to do so on Ever Sleeping.
Yeah, it is easy to do so, but I just still feel like Fire Investigator is not the best against the Goatman, but the Psychologist and Antiquarian are both decent choices, so I guess that must be the plan to begin with, though. Yeah, I may think that must be the plan. So here for Korone, is Korone hunting? Like, he can go for the Goatman because Goatman is good here. Opera Singer is also good. And we did see him with Wax Artist, so he can pull it out because Wax Artist is good against the Antiquarian, though the Fire Investigator is going to give the Wax Artist a very hard time.
Yeah, this actually, we might end up seeing a lot of things here. We might end up seeing another one of... If we recall correctly, with the breaking wheel, yeah, Korone does have a breaking wheel, which counters at least 2 of the 4 survivors here. It counters Mercenary. To an extent, it counters Mercenary. It counters his health, but it doesn't quite counter his elbow pads. Psychologist is definitely countered by the breaking wheel because of her empathy being useless as long as the the breaking wheel gets enough spikes on her. Fire investigator depends, but the antiquarian doesn't have much if she gets once the breaking wheel unlocks his snap.
Yeah, actually, I should like consider this for a split moment with Breaking Wheel, and actually it does make sense here because Breaking Wheel racks through the psychologist, and also the antiquarian can't be dealt with. Though, with the fire investigator, the harder thing is that when the wait are some oh thank goodness I thought we were not we were muted. Anyways, like back to what I was saying is that when the Breaking Wheel swap into human form, the fire investigator can use his airbags to block off the path and bounce himself away, and then the Breaking Wheel, who is in human form, will have to just rely on raw foot to chase the fire investigator, which may be a bit of hassle. But with this spawn here, the psychologist would definitely have to make a run for it because she is very fragile against a Breaking Wheel.
Absolutely, but then again, She did spawn at the middle two-story building, which will be a pain for the breaking wheel to kite, assuming she spawns within the building itself. She'll be rather safe. So he might go to check to see where precisely the psychologist spawned, but if she did spawn within the two-story itself and not out in front of it on the lower floor, he might go for the antiquarian instead.
Yeah, but I feel it's still going to be the psychologist because I don't think the psychologist would have enough time to make it up towards the two-story in time, meaning that the psychologist will have to rely on whatever resources she can find at the ground floor to make a run for it. So this is one thing that we should note of, and Korone was also known to be good with the breaking wheel. Anyways, I'm your caster Invisible Joan, joined by me is Sin, and we're going to be bringing you the commentary between Mad Trollers and No Exit. Alright, heading into the game here, Korone will be going straight for the psychologist, who does make her way up to 2-story, but even 2-story itself is not the best place. But we can see that the psychologist playing hide and seek, but unfortunately Korone does have keen eyes here, instantly able to get a spike onto the psychologist. Now just one more, and the psychologist will have facing risk of going down, which there goes the second one.
And
so
there it is.
Yeah, real noob has to be a bit careful. There's a missed trap here, but can he get the swing? Broken window's gonna come in play here, though. A beautiful place trap. A beautiful place trap over there, and we're literally talking about less than 40 seconds in the game, and the psychologist goes down. So this is not looking good for the survivor's Sin, because against a breaking wheel, you do not want to go down fast first under any circumstance.
Absolutely, and the issue here is that it can't be the mercenary that rescues, because if it's the mercenary that rescues, they're essentially just messing up the chances for psychologists to pull off a rebound kite. But still, because of decoding progress, he's essentially forced to be the one that goes here. For a double rescue instead, yeah, it's actually gonna be the fire investigator, and if he's the one who pulls the rescue off, the psychologist will be able to kite for a little bit longer. Although she's kiting herself into a wall. She's kiting herself into a straight line. The 11 corridors isn't exactly the best place. It might not be the best against the breaking wheel. Good flywheel here, actually.
Yeah, but the thing is that I'm not sure if Korone's play here is the right, because him like mad focusing on the fire investigator. Now the psychologist ran away scot-free. Like, as soon as he missed the blink, he should have just cut his losses and go back towards the psychologist, because now the psychologist has a possibility of getting healed up, because Korone has no idea where did the psychologist gone into. So honestly, I feel like Korone over there got too aggressive. Though the fortunate news for him is that let's see, does he realize the psychologist is also here? Yep, now he does know, so he's gonna go after the psychologist, but this time the fire investigator is here to assist, but unfortunately not being able to pull off much.
Although the cipher progress is actually rather slow. It's only at 4 ciphers remaining. Even though we're gonna see it go down to 3 ciphers remaining, the fire investigator is stuck here, and the mercenary will probably come in for the rescue just for tide turner to come into effect. Good placement of the airbag here, although that might end up messing up psychologist's kite later on.
Yeah, so that's why he did. He removed it. That's why he removed it. Anyways, moving on for. Yeah, Korone here, let's see. If he wants to hard target the go for the farm of the psychologist. The better play is to just wait until she gets rescued off the chair. But the survivors know this. That is why here the mercenary is not bothering to rescue and it's going to pull off here. And this time going to go down. And we actually seen that during all this, the fire investigator planned to use the airbag to help. And the antiquarian also planned to come in and harass with her swipes. So they actually had no one decoding, and the ciphers were at a complete standstill during amongst all that time, which may not be the best here because even the antiquarian can harass for time here. The issue with that is the ciphers are beyond enough because look at this, there are only 2.5 ciphers, and the antiquarian will not be able to harass off the chair, or rather off the balloon here.
Fortunately enough, the tram will not run over Corona here, and the psychologist will be sent back to the manor. The next target here is, it's gonna be the fire investigator, and if he uses his airbag correctly here, which he does, he'll block off the braking wheel for enough time, at least until he can get to around 2-story, which will be good.
Yeah, but there is a trap over there, and that's actually a very well-placed trap blocking off the fire investigator brief here. A second trap here, you're going to use fly effect to negate it, but then there is still blink, and with that the fire investigator will be down. So let's see what would the survivors do, because they are still missing for around like 1.5 cipher, and now they have to send someone in to rescue, meaning the ciphers would be even slower.
Still, they could send in a mercenary who still has a lot of elbow pads. Plus, that was a good use of flywheel, even though it didn't keep him alive for much longer. It forced out blink compared to if he were to eat the trap and actually just get down there. Free rescue, but he is gonna go down instantly to the
Antiquarian,
snap. But
watch out!
Antiquarian is here to harass. There it is, a free rescue, a body block, perhaps.
Yeah, I'm trying to body block, but let's see. Oh. Antiquarian fly with the way, but this time it's not going to work out for them. So let's see if the Antiquarian is planning to do something more. But here she has to be a bit cautious in not taking any damage, because if she ends up getting hit, this might not be good for the survivors. So yep, not going to be checked once again. And if the braking wheel sees the cipher like shaking over there, he knows that he has all the time in this world for the Antiquarian now.
Yeah, absolutely. Even if he does go out of wheel form here now, unfortunately unable to actually block or stun the hunter here and give the fire investigator the time he needs to kite. The Antiquarian's best choice now would be to back off again, just choosing to go for the Thanos snap. Fire investigator will be sent back to the manor here, and the Antiquarian is probably going to go down before the last cipher gets to be primed, because even with accelerated decoding, mercenary is still rather weak.
Yeah, though currently, like I'm not sure which one is the decoded cipher. I think it was the one that the Antiquarian was at just now. So honestly, I feel like it'll be very hard for the survivors to try and play like for a one escape even, considering. Oh, but actually the decoded cipher is the one at a 2-story. So the Merc can try to decode for a bit though, but the thing is that with a braking wheel at the face here, what the survivor can do will be a bit limited. Actually switches back to human form here before 2 spikes may not be the best move over there, because he could have just waited. But to be fair, right now it's more of the braking wheel's game. As soon as he downs, all you have to do is just down the mercenary and just make sure that no one get close towards the decoded ciphers. And now he actually can ignore the mercenary and just go for the Antiquarian, knowing that Antiquarian has no more self-heal.
Good, actually really good
trap.
Really good swipe from both swipe and the trap were good, because that stopped one of the spikes from going on her and prevented an instant snap, forced the attack, but the trap also stopped her in her tracks and killed her right there.
Yeah, so clearing the mercenary is only the last one remaining. The mercenary, it is at the strongest kiting area in the map, which is the graveyard, so he can still kite the braking wheel out for a bit. But the issue though is that he has to literally wait for the Antiquarian to bleed out, which would not be the case with Merc getting hit here and with Merc not getting chaired. So Metros know they cannot get out here, so they're gonna surrender. And with that, congratulations for Corone living up towards their team's name No Exit by making sure Match Trollers get a no exit and a 4-man, proving themselves that they want to qualify, and by 4-manning MT once again.
Yeah, that's another 4-man. If I remember correctly, they went down to a similar occurrence where Corona's breaking wheel was just way too strong for them on Ever Sleeping. I think what could have gone better here was their, again, Cypher progress management. They did not need Antiquarian to get off that Cypher when Psychologist went down. It would have been better for Fire Investigator to just lock in on supporting her if they absolutely must.
And to be fair, if we're gonna go back straight, the first kite kind of sealed their fate a bit. Because like I said it before, a full presence breaking wheel has the ability to like end survivors very fast. So the best counter is for the first survivor to not go down too fast. But we see that the Psychologist going down within 40 seconds in the game is definitely detrimental. Because her kiting around an area that's very narrow may not be the best move, considering that how you deal with a breaking wheel is be at open areas and dodge them, like slide to the left and slide to the right. But her running straight out in the open like that is very or rather, running to the narrow area like that is definitely going to be very hard to kite that one out.
Yeah, and now Mad Trollers Hunter has to do a mirror 4K. Otherwise, it's gonna be the same story with Team CC where they're going to be out for the count.
Yeah, and they definitely do not want that. Mad Trollers lost to no exit before, and for them they definitely do not want to lose here and lose to the same team twice. And for no exit though, they also want to qualify so bad. So they're like, I defeated you once, and I'm gonna prove you that it wasn't because. Like, I'm gonna prove to you that our skill is better than yours by defeating you a second time. So, yeah, for Mad Trollers, their Hunter definitely have to pull out everything against No Exit. And meanwhile, for No Exit, they can literally pick the tankiest survivors possible, and also the Embalmer just to play for that 1-man.
Yeah, again, although I think the Embalmer might be rather risky considering they can play tankier harassers with better synergy for like 4 escapes. They do want to make sure that they get fast decoding progress so that they don't get slugged out by or they don't get completely run over by a fast-paced hunter.
And so looking on from Mad Trollers, like first of all, the Goldman is always a possibility. But here, I think one thing we've seen in this tournament is that if you're trying too much to counter a Goldman, you end up getting surprised by different hunters, such as the Breaking Wheel, which is one of the like more obvious case. Or maybe we can see something else too. So, right now, like for Mad Trollers, they definitely have to stand up. And I think one thing that we note is that in games where you have to 4-man, Galatea may not be the best pick too, just because the survivors can opt to sell against the Galatea.
Yeah, the survivors can opt to sell, as we've seen with what would have saved the survivors up against FCMN's Galatea. If they choose to sacrifice, she will not have enough presence to actually kill a survivor unless she terror shocks them on their second hit.
Yeah, let's see. I'm trying to think all the possibilities though. Like, I feel like first of all, we may not see the chip hunters. I feel like Breaking Wheel is a good 4-man hunter, and also Goatman. But one thing that I actually seen that it actually occurred just now in IVL is that Hula Baloo has taken a lot, like dipped a lot, because there's literally a lot of like counters with Hula Baloo with the Fire Investigator, the Aeroplanist, and also the Meteorologist. The Meteorologist's ability to transitional kite herself and a pushback is also very detrimental to hunters who have no fast traveling ability. But moving on, we're seeing Mech going to be banned straight away. I think it's going to be clear the Mad Trollers may be leaning towards a Breaking Wheel, but I think if my memory served me correct, this hunter from Mad Trollers played Axe Boy yesterday.
Although, Yeah, Matchalas did play Axboy yesterday, but I don't remember how well that ended up for him. I don't think he got the 4K that he wanted out of it actually yesterday.
Yeah, but oh, look at this. We do have Wildling and Cheerleader. Wildling and Cheerleader, like, this is a very unprecedented pick here. Like, first of all, this pick is not good against the Goatman. We have established that this is not a good pick against the Goatman. Second of all, we can establish that, like, because the thing is that Goatman can chase a Cheerleader, and second of all, we can also establish that this is not a good pick against like a lot of hunters, like the Breaking Wheel too, because the Breaking Wheel can just spike the Wildling off the board. So they do have Acrobat and Meteorologist to add this one up, but this Wildling and Cheerleader pick is just kind of like a weird pick if you ask me.
This combo, it's wonky, but at the same time, it could have synergy between the two of them. The Cheerleader could support whoever is kiting, and the Wildling can harass, or if one of them is being chased, the Cheerleader can support herself with the speeds, and then the harassment from the Wildling for a little bit of extra distance.
Yeah. Yes, but that really depends on the hunter, because I feel like Breaking Wheel, if the hunter has, is possible here. But if this hunter is an X-Boy main and plays like X-Boy like yesterday, then this might be an entirely different story here.
Especially since it's ever sleeping and it's extremely hard to dodge any souls that come your way without walking right back into the hunter. Your only choice here would be to kite around middle, but even then avoiding the souls there would be hard because of all of the tight pallets.
So, yeah, so currently we're still waiting on the hunter's pick over here. I'm still trying to think what would they be aiming for, because I feel like this team comp from No X is not particularly strong, but still goes for the Goatman, because Goatman, as I said, can chase the Cheerleader, and honestly, I would really just question this, like, why pick the Cheerleader, because Cheerleader does not seem good here, unless he wanted to counter the X-Boy for so bad that they go for this team comp. But we're actually going to be heading into a quick pause over here. It seems that there are some issue on Team No Exit's end.
Yeah, that's all right. That's all right. At least that gives us a little bit more time to analyze how they could possibly play this out, especially regarding spawn points. What honestly do you think would be the best spawn point for them here?
The best spawn point, let's see. First of all, the Wildling would probably at a dangerous spot. They'll probably pick the Cheerleader spawning like closer towards the graveyard, maybe, because or like the corner house, because those are the stronger kiting spots in this map. Because the thing is that the Cheerleader is the one that's very fragile. Acrobat and Meteorologist have like certain, like not a lot, but certain counter measures here, but not the Cheerleader. Cheerleader gets absolutely run over by the Goatman.
Yeah, the Goatman here would absolutely get bullied by the Goatman here. So what their strategy would probably end up being is to protect the Cheerleader from running into the Goatman on their first fight, at least.
Yep, so moving on into here, we are going to be heading into the area selection. And actually, we noticed that there are free fly effects, so it seems that for Team No Exit, they were prepared against the Goatman. Though I do question why not choose the Embalmer if they want a one-man, but that can be like dealt with here. As we can see that the Cheerleader will indeed be taking the corner house, and the hunter is spawning near the corner house, so it's going to be very crystal clear that the Cheerleader would definitely have to make a run for it, because the Cheerleader is going to take the first kite, so the Cheerleader needs to make the kite of her life.
Yeah, absolutely. Honestly, I don't think it was the best choice to put the Cheerleader there, knowing she was the squishy one here. They might have had better luck putting her on two-story and swapping her with Meteorologist, but honestly, because of her speed boost, she should have a decent time at least looping the Goatman within his own cages.
Yeah, no, but No, not exactly. Because the thing with cheerleader speed boost is that when she speed boosts inside the cage, it's going to be near useless because no matter how fast you are, you end up running towards the other side of the cage, and all of a sudden, that the Goldman will appear at the other side. Also, there's going to be like a 2 second of deceleration of the cheerleader after she gets chased, and this is going to be very like fatal for cheerleader because the Goldman can just march her way towards the cheerleader and get the down over there.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That is the major risk when it comes to playing cheerleader, playing cheerleader against the Goatman. But let's see how she plays it because still, Two Story is relatively strong against Goatman. Whenever
Yeah, but
partner has,
cheerleader
yeah.
is a very weak survivor against the Goldman. So let's see how this play out. Hunter here going to be taking shortcut, and cheerleader is going to offer the hide, but her blood trails are very obvious here. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that's the best play. Now end up getting hit and trying to make the way towards the tram, but it's very easy for the
What?
hunter to do something with, like with literally with one enclosure cage here, and the cheerleader's already stuck in a bad position, and we force to use both her speed boosts. And yes, the cage is gonna drop, but then here we talk about it. There's the slowdown, and because of the slowdown effect, even the acceleration after injury hit got slowed down here, and the cheerleader stood in the hunter's face, and there we have it, going down within 45 seconds of the game. This is not looking good for Team No Exit at all, because they only need a one man, but with this down, it's going to be like entirely possible for the hunter to go for a 3 to 4 man.
Yeah, not only that, but the cheerleader got shared
Welling,
right
Boar,
next to the middle cipher, which will block off the cipher progress. Although, yeah, even if luckily enough, the
Boar.
the cage actually timed out right as the attack happened, but the cheerleader will go down once more. The wildling will most likely be blocked off from harassing using the cage.
Yeah, so we're talking about only like 2.5 ciphers in the game, and this cheerleader would be a second chair. Like normally, if it's a 2.5 cipher first down, then it's a very good kite for the survivors. But this is the second chair, which is going to be very bad for the survivors. Like they need to take a free man. Like they need to like have a one man, but it's going to be very hard for them to even get a one man. So right now, let's see who is going to be the one taking the rescue. As we can see, the Wildling is going to be heading in once again, but just watch out though. This time is a little bit dangerous here.
Yeah, this is incredibly dangerous for them with the tram, but
Oh, backstab.
no, even then the tram doesn't get too much of the backstab. But let's see. With the wildling actually body blocking, this might end up, oh yeah, forcing out blink. That's still good enough. The wildling will have
Oh,
to. No, unfortunately not. Does not manage to cage out the wildling, sticking right next to the cheerleader here. Oof, or using the goatman's own cage against him.
yeah, that was a beautiful move. That was a beautiful move, like just passing by and just to harass even more time. But cheerleader, another speed boost here, but this time I forced to turn the other way, and with a deceleration, that was what I was talking about, Sin. The deceleration is literally the one time where the Goldman can just easily catch up and secure the down. So currently, like the good news though is that the Walling did manage to buy a lot of time, so we are going to be heading into one cipher that remains in the game with like two survivors full and one half. So it's still playable. So let's see how will the meteorologist take this next kite.
Yeah, honestly, beautiful cloud from the
Oh,
meteorologist, but even oof. Actually, that's a good flywheel. Allows her to kite out the first cage. She will probably take the first hit soon, but still, she's been stalling out the cage as much as
oh,
possible here. Actually, manages to kite it out fully. A, an amazing use of a cloud, only taking a chip hit here. Oh, are you okay? All right. Your mic is
hello.
cutting out.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, your mic changed. Yeah, hello.
All right. Anyways, the acrobat is the only survivor that has borrowed time right now. So like I think as soon as the ciphers are primed, they should just pop it, seeing that they have no borrowed time.
Oof, unfortunately a terror shock. Although I think their option here would probably be to. I'm not sure if their option here would be to rescue. We can see the wilding right here. If they pop now, the wilding will be in a bad position, especially since it's still possible for him to get the hit as long as he can wear down resentment.
Well, the good news though is that with the acrobat being nearby and the survivors being prepared and all they can just go for the rescue and play for and I have the acrobat rescue and all. But I don't know why the acrobat is not rescuing, because like he spent a lot of time. Oh, actually manages to trap to like firebomb the Goldman and trap him and outside the cage. So I feel like the survivor can pop straight away, seeing that the Goldman was silenced for 8 seconds. Like that was a beautiful move there. So let's see, would this pay off for the survivors as the meteorologist managed to cut out that cage, and it's buying a lot of time here for the survivors to get closer towards the gate, and now the Goatman will be forced to go after this meteorologist as the Walling has officially touched the gate over there.
Amazing palette mind game again there, by the way. And then this cage, just looping this cage here. This is beautiful from the meteorologist. Even if she goes down, that is one gate that's already open. And that, oh, actually a teleport here. That might be risky. Although the wildling can get out, and if even if the acrobat doesn't get out here, that does guarantee no exits win.
Yeah, so with that, we congratulate the two no exit. And honestly, like the first down over there was very dangerous with the time, but we can see that the cheerlead, like the Walling did a very good job in harassing their, like forcing out cages and then harassing the survivor off the balloon, which was an amazing move there just to buy more time, and that successfully bought them enough time. And later, when the meteorologist got chased once again, the meteorologist also bought out enough time there. So with a very good performance from both the meteorologist and the wildling, they successfully reversed the bad, like dangerous early game, as no exit once again is going to like defeat Matt Trollers and advance. And unfortunately for Matt Trollers, history repeats for them as they'll get eliminated, and no exit will be the 7th team to join to be in the final 8 playoffs.
Yeah, and now immediately after this, we're gonna be proceeding to our last BO1 of the night. Honestly, this is a pretty fast pace, even for the previous days.
I mean, yeah. This is sort of a fast-paced action, but I mean, to be fair, Metro's Hunter definitely did try, but No Exit Survivor also did very, very well. Like the wildling harass definitely saved the game along with the meteorologist. So with that being said, yeah, No Exit wins 6-3 over there, and yeah, just the cheerleader pick was definitely dangerous, but the wildling pick from Matt Trollers or for No Exit definitely paid it off.
Yup, the wildling pick. Again, without that wildling, I think that even if the meteorologist kited for just as much amount of time as she did, that would not have played off the way it did, and it probably would have been a 4 kill for Team Mad Trollers.
Yeah, it definitely would not have worked. So right now, like with No Exit win, I'm very like looking forward to see them play even more. And Corone definitely, like he has been like a regular in my tournament. It's definitely amazing to see how well he played. But we're going to be having a quick pause, a quick break, and we'll see everyone in the last match. See you in a bit. All right, we're back. So yeah. Now hopefully, like this is the last BO1 match. Let's just bring it all, as it's going to be Team ES and Team Gao. And honestly, the thing with Team Gao is that I definitely remember that the most, don't you? They're wacky survivors.
Yeah, against Team Gao, it's really weird to play like standard hunters, especially because Team Gao carries a doctor that absolutely goes through, absolutely counters a Goatman here, even if it's not one of the more traditional anti-Goatman plays.
So yeah. Oh, here we have a reminder of 7 out of the 8 playoff teams. We have Write Your Story and Sky, HLT, FCMN, and Wolfgang sitting here. And for PBD and No Exit, they just qualified. And we have the last one, so either Team ES or Team Gao will be advancing to the last bracket, and the other team will unfortunately get eliminated. And for Team ES, we have DH, Wan, Fuku, Kao, NM, Nam, and Mobius. You can go ahead for Gao.
Yep, for Team Gao, we have Plum, Shom, Nang, CKIV, Hui, Mikukana, and Taylor Swift.
Which is not the real Taylor Swift. But
not the real Taylor Swift, yeah.
Actually, one thing that from Team ES reminds me, I think, is that their survivors were very tenacious. If I recall it correctly, is that yesterday we did see their survivors perform very well, or the survivors like constantly like getting free escapes when needed and just evening up the score. So I'm definitely excited to see ES's survivor perform today.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see how this will play out, how Team ES will counter against Team Gao's team comps, because as we've seen on the previous match, Team Bun was also fond of the rather unusual team comps, but it worked more in Gao's favor because of a slight difference in a team comp on the second half.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, while they were at it, like one thing we recall is the Team Gao likes to play unconventional survivors, and also occasionally pull out the Doctor. I reckon that time when they pull out the Doctor is to counter any Hermit picks, and also like counter any Hermit picks or surprise picks over there though. So for Team Gao, yeah, like I'm excited to see what else they're gonna be pulling out. In fact, we've seen Team Gao's wacky survivors. We see Team ES's survivor being tenacious. So maybe the match today is going to be more of the survivors shining.
Absolutely, we're just gonna see, because of how basically set in stone most of the hunter picks nowadays are. It's either Goatman, Shadow, Opera Singer, or the hunter's comfort pick. It's really just up to how the survivors choose to play their cards, what kind of comps, what kind of counters they choose to do.
Definitely. So, yeah, right now we're still waiting on the band pick selection. But yeah, like one thing that we note is that while it's mostly breaking wheels, we do see some like mixtures of Opera Singer and Hula Baloo and breaking wheel. But funnily enough, the Shadow has rarely been seen playing. Like we did see some players play the Shadow, but not a lot in this tournament.
Oh, absolutely. Even though, but still, Shadow does have a lot of potential, at least more potential than we've seen with how Hunter has been, not Hermit, Hermit has been going in this tournament.
Yep, so yeah, I mean, to be fair, Goldman BO1 is what we all expect, right?
Absolutely. I'm not expecting anything else but the Goatman right now. But
I
we
mean,
could be surprised by something else.
I mean,
I could also see an opera singer.
I mean, for Goatman, I mean, for Goatman, it's like in theory the first pick, but we actually already seen that. Like I feel established, like as I mentioned, established that Goatman, while it's like preferably the first pick, if you just pull it out against any team comp, it might and would backfire on you. So here it's really just dependent on the team comp here though. So yeah, Goldman's the preferred, but you can put the Hula Baloo and other team comps depending on what they selected.
Yeah, now we're still just stuck in waiting. There's not much else for us to
Well,
aside from Goatman.
now there's something that we
Do
can
we
talk
Oh,
about.
there it is. Now there it is.
Well, first of all, let's see who's gonna be the band. Oh, Mechanic. Mechanic is actually a very stable band in this tournament, but actually we do see by now that there are some team would like to release the Mechanic and then just select the opera singer to target the Mechanic because this is possible. But look at this for Team Gao. They're gonna be opting for Explorer, and actually this does make sense because Explorer is actually very strong in Arms Factory because there are a lot of grasses there, so it's possible for like the explorer to play hide and seek with the hunter. We've actually did seen that before. If that an explorer hit against the hunter for free ciphers, so that must be what Team Gao is aiming for here, and I'm liking this explorer pick.
Yeah, this Explorer pick is actually pretty good. We're gonna see a forward and we're gonna see another painter. Team Gao is really fond of that painter.
Yep, Team Gao is definitely fond of the painter because from what I recall, we did see it a lot. But for painter combo, kind of a lot of stun aspects. So maybe for Team ES's hunter, they can select a hunter that goes with excitement, like excitement Goatman or like excitement Hullabaloo, or maybe just the disciple to deal with the explorer as well. So even though they have the forehand painter as the stun and support, I can see ES potentially countering it with some plays.
Yeah, yes, could counter it again, like you mentioned with a disciple, just go for a tie or a 3K just to at least avoid putting pressure on their survivor half later on. But another thing that we could another thing that basically this team counters any weak chase hunters because it's basically if the hunter chooses to go someone that cannot chase properly without blink, like again, as we mentioned, as we've seen before, possibly a Galatea or other chip hunters that depend on blink to get sustainable first downs. Actually, we're seeing a bonbon. That could work as well. A bonbon with excitement, maybe.
Um, I mean, yes, Bonbon did get buffed recently. Like now he can use his like the time bomb to increase the detonation time and the rocket chair time. But the potential issue I am seeing here though is that there's the Ford, and yes, Ford is a bit hard in harassing a guard 26 off the balloon, but the Ford's strength against the guard 26 is not off the balloon, but to do a stun rescue on a chair, effectively negating the guard 26 strongest trait, which is going to be chair camp. Like as soon as guard 26 chairs someone on the chair for stun rescue, and then guard 26 like strongest suit has been negated, and oh my goodness, Sin, like
Oh,
2x2 spawn selection.
we're seeing the square, I guess, and honestly, this isn't bad considering considering it's a bonbon. This actually puts them closer to each other and makes it easier for them to support each other. At least for the forward and for the painter, it makes it easier for them to get to each other. The psychologist could probably run towards sandbags.
So, yeah, first of all, the Ford is definitely going to make a run towards it. So it's really the psychologist or the painter being chased depending on what trait that they bring. But we do see that both the painter and the psychologist has brought broken windows, which is very effective against the guard 26, able to use it to increase transitional kite. So the thing now is for guard 26, I feel like his first chase might be a bit of a struggle unless he can find Explorer first, but that would be hard. I think his other chance will be probably to chase the survivors so that they will all run into each other and disrupt each other's cipher progress.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That they do have to be careful with with their rotations here because that will be the key to them actually lasting out their first kite properly here because even if the first kite is good, if no decoding progress happens, then it's just a wasted kite.
Yeah, so the survivors, like with this spawn selection, they have to be very careful in how they're gonna pull this one with the rotations. But early game, we can see Nam here going to be rotating around, and we'll be heading towards the psychologist who has rotated in the factory, while the explorer is going to be outside the factory digging for pages. So let's see how would this psychologist kite this one out, as the psychologist actually already hid behind the pad areas. And let's see, does Bonbon realize it though? Oh, I don't think the guard 26 knows where the psychologist is, so this early game might not be the best, as Nam is just wandering around having no clue on the survivor's location.
Yeah, unfortunately unable to catch on to that psychologist, he's forced to chase the
Painter.
He's forced to chase Taylor Swift Painter. So honestly, this is a better first chase because Psychologist is tanky, and at least with Painter, he's not able to do much with his paintings on such a narrow area here. With his first painting up, the Bonbon is forced to start using camera-dependent tricks, but
Excitement.
yeah, excitement there. Azan's kind of expecting the excitement and takes a first hit. At least it's not a bomb. So far, Painter has been doing an excellent job dodging the bombs.
Yeah, I feel like for Nams, his bombs were kind of inaccurate because so far he had not hit a single chain bomb onto the painter so far. So let's see, this chain bomb, is it going to count? Nope, misses again. And we can see that the fourth already in the vicinity, and this time going to try and use a camera dependent trick, not being able to. And the thing is that as soon as the painting is done, the fourth goes for the stun here. And I thought that they were going to be considering to do an instant long range heal, but nope, having the painter to solo kite for long and going to be kiting his way towards the factory. And I was about to say that he's going to disrupt the ciphers, but fortunately the explorer assisted the psychologist in decoding, so now the entire factory is free for the painter to play around with.
Mm-hmm. Honestly, yeah, the good choice here when it comes to picking the explorer is that even if the cipher progress might get halted, as long as they communicate properly enough, the pages can be used to clear up ciphers on the route of the survivor.
Yeah, currently, one more page, like one more bomb to death, but for Nam, he does not have remote bombs just yet, and we're already talking about 2.5 ciphers in the game, still not able to get it down here. Leslie goes for the swing and misses. Painter clawing to stay alive and is going to get it down here, but the issue with that is the 4 is in the vicinity. So, yeah, but here, yep, just 1, and the 4 doesn't dare to do anything. 4 stun rescue, but Nam does have excitement, so the excitement is going to negate that, and now this is going to be a very close mind game, but he's very low on bombs because of the amount of bombs he missed, so this does allow the 4 to pull off the rescue relatively scot-free.
Yeah, honestly, that was an amazing that was a okay rescue from the forward. It was good in terms of the stun, but the excitement really countered it. The painter goes down inside the factory, which is in fact the best option for them since it forces the Bonbon to at least walk further and waste a bit more time. The ciphers, a remote heal will probably be the option. No, actually, no. They might send psychologists for the rescue because if they remote heal the forward, he still has a chip health.
Oh yeah, but the thing is that we can see that with the detonation, it's now going to be in play here because the painter actually will be sent back in the manor in 12 seconds if the explorer does not come in. But it doesn't seem like the explorer is going to be coming in, though, or no, never mind. It's going to come in now, the Cypher's Prime, but he has to go for it instantly, and is able to to pull it off. So let's say they're going to pop straight away due to the fact that Painter had no borrow time, but Painter able to fly with effect into the like safe area. But oh, actually vaults back out. Maybe there was a bit of a misplay there, but still, because with the help of a Tide Turner, he's still alive, so he can literally just die in the corner, and meanwhile, every 3 remaining survivors can just all rush the gate, and it's likely going to be enough there, Sin.
Yeah, with 3 of the survivors rushing the gate, this does make a 5 cipher kite from the painter with still a few seconds left on the trade, and yeah, even with teleport, he won't be able to make it out. You'll be able to get one more person. Amazing kite from the painter, actually. Taylor Swift's painter. There surely was a reason why they've chosen painter so many times in this tournament, and now we see it.
Yeah, I think the thing with this is that for Bonbon is that his bombs were actually a bit inaccurate because we see that during during the time he was chasing in the front gate ruins, he missed he did not land a single bomb hit onto the painter, and just had the painter kite all the way into the like from the factory ruins, front gate ruins to the factory, and it was just way too long at that point of time. And also him, like after using the excitement to negate the first stun rescue, him not achieving a double down kind of sealed the fate.
Yeah, that sort of sealed his fate. Even if he managed to pull off somewhat decent stuff, like although he did manage to get the forward to 0.75 health, that still isn't enough for a down, and that did not get enough for a double down. Even if yeah, if the painter was able to kite towards the dungeon, that would have been even worse for the guard 26.
So I think overall it was just like Bon is a TIE hunter in general, and his bombs were inaccurate, and also yeah, like the fourth stun rescue, and he had no bombs to try and double down. But honestly, I really want to applaud how well the survivors timed that from the rotation, because with the psychologist hide and seek, explore, shrink, forcing the hunter march towards the painter, and then painter, after exhausting all the pallets in the ruins, make his way towards the factory with the help of the paintings. And at that moment, the explorer goes and helps the psychologist to finish her cipher, so that cipher will not get disrupted, and the fourth coming in to harass. Overall, those are just some very, very well planned from Team Gao. This is showing that even if Team Gao likes to play wacky survivors, they actually can coordinate well and are a force to be reckoned with. They may not play meta, but they still know how this game works.
Absolutely. With Team Gao, I think their strongest weapon is their coordination and how unexpected some of their plays are. With a mystery of like unexpectedness to an extent, or like unpreparedness, because the hunter might have been gearing up to actually the hunter might have not have enough practice countering specific survivors or specific comps, and so that makes it much harder for them to deal with it, especially up against proper communication.
Yep. So now the pressure is back onto like ES's hunter or ES's survivor to achieve a free escape. And per my memory, I feel like they achieved it before, but this time for Team Gao Hunter, having the knowledge that he only needs a tie may be easier for them, because he can play the TIE hunters like Disciple or like Goatman, because like Goatman is the strongest, or Hula Baloo, Opera Singer, all those TIE hunters can be pulled out successfully here. So it's really for Team ES to think how they want to play this out. But like one thing I noted in this meta is that this is a harassing meta, so maybe we'll see more supporters or harassers in the play now.
This definitely is a harassing meta because of how well certain harassers work up against Goatman. We've seen both the forward and the wildling performed excellently against the Goatman now. So I really want to see a disciple here, honestly, just to distance ourselves a little bit further away from the Goatman. And since we don't actually need a strong win hunter and rather just a stable tie hunter. Jong, is your microphone working? I cannot hear you. Hello? Can you try speaking?
Um,
Oh gosh. Oh, you're muted. Oh no, that's your stream. Uh,
Hello?
okay, I can hear you now.
Yeah, I don't know why my mic is randomly.
Yeah, alright, that's fine. Right, we're seeing a mechanic and a seer ban. Honestly, this isn't very doesn't tell us much, because these are still standard bans for a Goatman, and these are still standard bans for Goatman, and we're seeing this team can't be novelist, antiquarian, lucky guy, and forward. This is a pretty stable team comp, honestly. They might just be going for stability rather than Cypher Rush.
Hello? Am I working?
Oh, yes, I can hear you now.
Just now, I don't know why my mic is randomly disconnecting tonight. Anyways, moving on. Yeah, like I'll echo to what you say with this team comp being very supportive, because this is probably what Team ESS need, because right now they're aiming for free escape. They want to support each other there and all. So let's see for Sina Wumong, what will he pick? Well, if he's very confident in his Goldman, he can go for it. Though I also think that Disciple might also work here, because Disciple sort of counters all these harassers. By having the cats onto them, leap onto them, and then just silence them, and then they cannot really come into support. So Disciple is also possible to play for a tie here, depending on how confident is Sina Wumong with his Hunter.
Oh yeah, there it is. We just need to see how confident Sham is when it comes to actually playing the Disciple, or perhaps Sham has a Hunter that they're more confident in rather than Disciple. Maybe they're Goatman, or maybe it's just a comfort pick, since it only needs a tie.
It is going to be the Disciple as shown on the screen right now. So, yep, like, there we have it. Established Disciple, like Disciple you ask, and Disciple you get. So, let's see. Disciple against this team comp, as I said, is possible for a tie, because he can chase like Lucky Guy and Antiquarian. And though you do want to look out for the Novelist, because the thing with Novelist against Disciple is that after the Disciple uses the swoop ability and release the cats, then the Novelist can instantly use Metaphor to swap places with the Hunter, and then what will happen is that the Disciple's cats can be considered wasted. So in one way, the Novelist does counter the Disciple.
Yeah, the Novelist might be a little bit of a threat for the Disciple, but the others here aren't that much of a problem. Antiquarian can't do anything close range as long as she has a cat on her. Forward can't do anything in terms of supporting. Plus, it's gonna be easy for the Disciple to catch up to him with a cat. And Lucky Guy, well, he doesn't have anything for transitional abilities, although he does have the possible gun. I cannot hear you again, so if you've been speaking, I apologize. Right, so we're gonna be getting into the match. Since I can't hear Jong, I'm just gonna commentate and then leave a few bits of silence every now and then. Yeah, we're gonna see the first chase already start around. No, it's actually, yeah, around middle, going straight into sandbags, inner sandbags, and that's gonna be not yet able. No, yeah, is able to land the first hit here. No, yeah, hello, okay.
This is getting annoying. Anyways, moving on, we can see that the Lucky Guy is going to be getting chase over here. And Lucky Guy, as I noted before the game begins, can get chased here, especially because the Lucky Guy has nothing to work with just yet. So here Disciple gets the jump on the Lucky Guy and then is able to get a hit straight away. So this is looking a very good start for the Disciple.
Yeah, honestly, this is a good start for the Disciple. No more, the Lucky Guy has no more items. He has Tide Turner, and he's getting stuck out into an open space. Ooh, Novelist is actually gonna try to use Metaphor here, but Excitement comes out.
Yeah, but do question if using Excitement there is the best play, considering that there's 4 and Antiquarian too. But we can see that both of them are too busy decoding right now, so Hunter knows he's safe here, but he thinks that he thought that the fort was here, so that's why he placed out the cats. But just now, actually, if he saw the fort and he like 2 ciphers decoding at the far range, he will have known that there was no way possible that the 4 or antiquarian is here. So now that he has Lucky Guy on the chair, so this is good news. And good news for him. So let's see if the 4 can make his harassment count, seeing that now they know that the disciple has no excitement in play.
Yeah, with no more excitement in play, the only thing the disciple has to actually rely on would be the cats. But because the novelist ate up the cats, this is... unfortunately, the cat's extended range will be the cause of Lucky Guy's death here. But I still don't think he would have lasted much longer here. I think their only option now would be to harass and prevent him from going down too fast. But his routing way too close to another chair might be some struggle for them. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's not even that, but the fact that he was in a weird position and the disciple sort of counters the forward. So yeah, now it's in the second chair, and in theory it would be very hard for the forward to support this Lucky Guy sufficiently. And the thing is that if they want to pull this one off in the next rescue, after like the hunter gets an attack recovery, they need to go for an instant stun, force out excitement, and then hope for them to do a second harass. But it seems that they're not going to be rescuing, as the Lucky Guy will be sent back to the manor here. We're left with 3 survivors remaining, and they need to get all 3 survivors out of the game here, Sin.
Yeah, this is a tall order for them, but now we're at 2 ciphers remaining. I do have confidence in the fact that that the next kite should be able to last significantly longer, even with excitement. The antiquarian still does have the speed boost that comes with the swipes. And the
alright, so we can see that
able to
anyways, we can see that the 4 is going to be getting chased over here. So disciple here, actually, I think right now his best play is to just find a survivor, find a target, and just target him for the entire game. It would not be like ideal for a disciple to keep on switching over and over, because this was just giving them out free chances. But it seems that disciple are confused right now into where the survivors are, as he did not catch the novelist, and he also did not know that the survivors are healing over there at the front gate. So this disciple is currently giving out some chances by doing nothing. So yeah, right now the best play for Sian Wumong is to find a target and just target him. And just now, actually, the shadow of novelist appeared, but Sian Wumong apparently did not see them. And finding someone is in the corner, but no one is there. So he's just giving out lots of free room right now.
Yeah, it might force him. This might force him to actually use out teleport. Oh my gosh, I'm also getting a bit of allergies. No, he's gonna actually try to go there using his cat, but still this is gonna be so slow. And that cipher is gonna have a decent amount of progress. If someone else picks it up, and then a successful transition here without going down can be pulled off from forward's end, which should be possible with such a high HP ball.
High HP ball. Yeah, for going to be forcing out, that's called durability. Anyways.
Yeah, it's escaping my... Bleh.
Anyways, yeah, Ford actually ended up using pretty much of his football in order to escape, but still gonna be taking hit over here. And now I think the play for Sian Wumong is to just target the Ford, because the Ford being low in items means that he will be a whiteboard endgame. So, and the other thing is that the Ford also has no borrowed time. And the thing with Disciple is that it's very hard to achieve a body block against the Disciple due to the fact that can land stuns over here. So yep, Novelist will be in the vicinity, but I feel like it'll be very hard because there's also the basement, because yep, Sian Wumong will be bringing the force straight towards the basement. And the thing is that he's in no hurry. After the Ford comes in, gets rescue of the chair, he's in no hurry to hit. All he has to do is to land cats. He goes for the swing here, but I think he should just land cats. He should have known that the Ford has no borrowed time, because he used Tide Turner, he used Broken Windows, that means he has no borrowed time. But here instead, off for the swing down hit here, and it's gonna go after the Ford, but the Novelist actually did not try to body block, which is not the best play, seeing that Ford had no borrowed time, and they need to somehow make the Ford survive out of the gate.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think ES has just resigned themselves to a loss here because I don't know what's happening here. They haven't popped the Cypher yet. They might be going for a heal. Might be swapping posts, actually, having Antiquarian be sent here instead for the second rescue, where they'll probably be able to pull off a body block much easier compared to Novelist.
Not quite, because the thing is a disciple. Like,
Oof.
yep, get a hit here, and there's nothing they can redo. Unless the Antiquarian harasses the fort off, but which is impossible because there's no reason. Like, oh, but actually, Fian Woman here is going to be going for more, but actually, that's not the best play here because literally, you have a fort dead on chair, and the moment you chair the fort, it's going to be over. So it's better here to just like go and chair the forward and take the win instantly rather than like going for more
Yeah,
that
rather
has a
than
chance of
drawing this out.
backfiring.
Although the forward is stuck within the basement, so there's not much for him to actually do if he self-heals.
True.
He doesn't even have a ball anyways.
Yeah, probably Xian Woman wants to go for more in terms of
Mm-hmm.
like even data or like just get a more kills. As the 4 will be sent back to the manor here, teleporting back up to the Antiquarian, and Novelist he tried to approach, knows it's impossible, so we'll be making a run for it. And there, ladies and gentlemen, will we have our winner in this match.
Yeah, beautiful gameplay from Team Gao, both on their survivor and their hunter side, managing to get a three kill and a three escape respectively.
So congratulations to Team Gao for defeating ES and taking the last spot. And with their wacky survivor picks that works, and also like very good game sense with the disciple bringing excitement, and also in her way of dealing with this harassed heavy team com and all overall very good job finding the weak link and then exploiting it entirely.
Mm-hmm. Honestly, amazing gameplay from them. I especially love to see how that painter worked up against that Bonbon. Even though the Bonbon did miss a majority of his stuns, just the raw kiting and the route, the communication, the protocols, essentially how the team moved around the map, how they basically forced the game into their hands was amazing to watch.
Yep. So with that, Team Gao is going to take the 6-2 over Team ES. And honestly, I'm really liking how Team Gao's survivor coordinate with each other. And considering that the Team Gao was also the team that forced Sky into overtime, I am excited to see even more from them, seeing that now they are the last team to be joining the playoffs there, Sin.
Yeah, absolutely. They're just gonna see that we've seen amazing gameplay from Team Gal these past few days after they took a few losses the previous days. We're seeing them redeem themselves, actually. So this is great.
Oh yeah, this is definitely great for them. So yeah, like we've seen a lot of BO1 action, but moving on for now, we're going to be moving to see more BO2 and BO3 action in playoffs. So definitely we should keep our eyes peeled here yeah, make sure to check out the announcement to see which team will be facing off against who, and what are we going to be potentially expecting.
Mm-hmm. All right, and that actually calls it for all three of our matchups for today. And wow, this looks clean on the scoreboard. Actually, it's straight line, and Team PPD, Team NE, and Team Gao will be proceeding and qualifying for the playoff stage. Or was it? Yeah.
Yep, definitely. And yeah, so we have Team PBD who managed to recover from a 0-2 into a 3-2. And then we have Team No Exit who did drop their first match, but then sort of like got their way through. And Team Gao who sort of like was like in danger of 1-2 and clawed their way back up. So it's just amazing to see like all these teams' performance. And moving on into BO2 and BO3 round, we are going to be possibly seeing some rematches, but this time on BO1, and it's going to be in BO3. So reminding everyone, 3 O's, we have Write Your Story and Sky. 3-1 with HLT, FCMN, and Wolfgang, and 3-2 with PPD, No Exit, and Team Gao.
Yep, there it is, and that calls it for tonight's matches. We're gonna have to wait patiently for the finals and for the playoff stage. We're gonna see for the next one. We're actually gonna see less forgiving ones, and all of them are. If any team loses here, they will be dropping out immediately. No more extra chances.
Yeah, there are no more extra chances, so I don't care how well you played. I don't care whether you got a 3-0 or 3-2. You lose one, you are out. So even Write Your Story and Sky, who all advance without any defeats, are not safe over here, because as I said, any losses in single elimination and you're gone. So we have like looking here, we have 4 BO3s, and the semi-final 2 BO3s, and then a third place battle and the grand finals battle here, Sin.
Yeah, and they're doing the wheel for the board right now. They're probably setting up the board because all we're seeing is WIS and Sky here.
Yeah.
Or oh no, yeah, it's intentional. They're trying to choose which 3-0 team for the first bracket.
Yeah, so let's see. We have Write Your Story first on the top and Sky on the bottom, I think.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what we're gonna see, and now they're gonna determine which. They're probably gonna determine which 3-2 is gonna, or 3-1. Yeah, I think 3-1 is going up next.
Yeah, like Write Your Story and Sky, and they're probably going to be like drawing between the 3-2 teams, which is Team Gao, Team PPD, and also Team No Exit.
Yeah, let's just see. Let's just wait for it. It'll be interesting to see if Team Gao gets put up against Team Sky once more.
I mean, it will be interesting to see all the rematches should they happen. So, yep. Back to it, PPD, No Exit, and Team Gao are going to be the ones that are in the draw bracket. So while we're at it, let's see anyone in the chat that I know. Oh, hello. Yeah, we have a couple people in the chat, so hello everyone. Hopefully y'all are enjoying the night so far as I am. But yeah, there we have it. Gao, PPD, and No Exit, who will be facing off against Write Your Story. Just now I didn't recall who did Write Your Story face again, so we'll see.
And then we're gonna see. Yeah, we're seeing them spin the 3-2s. We're seeing Team Gao go up first. They're gonna be going up against I'm guessing they're going up against Write Your Story.
Probably.
And the next one that we're gonna see be going up against a 3-1.
Yeah, so currently though, yeah, Team Gao, and then we have PPD and No Exit, who will be facing off against Team Sky, which is arguably one of the teams we should look out for, seeing they came back from KOA.
Yeah, there it is. We're gonna see Team PPD go up against the 3-1 team, and then...
No, I think PPD is like maybe the one against Sky, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it depends, honestly. It's... The second one is... Depends on them. Let's just see what it changes. Yeah, it's gonna be a Team PPD up against Team Sky. So that means it's a little bit less stakes for Team Any, because at least they're going up against a team that has lost at least once. Perhaps that might, based on probability, I guess, just a teensy amount more chance.
I mean,
but all of them are still formidable teams.
I mean, we still have Team HLT, FCMN, Wolfgang, and Team wait, what was that team no exit? Yeah, so we still have these
Mm-hmm.
4 teams that which are going to be drawing right now. So let's see. They're probably going to be drawing the bracket soon. Yeah, I think this one is to determine the free one and free to two. So, oh, no exit will be at the same side.
Mm-hmm. We're gonna see no exit, and then what we're gonna see next should we're gonna wait until they update the actual board itself before we spin the wheel once more for the team Annie is gonna be up against.
Yup. So, let's see. Yeah, no exit officially been drawn. So we still have 3 more. Remove. Yeah, they're gonna remove all and spin again. So let's see. I'll imagine the next spin will be team no exits opponent maybe. So it's going to be FCMN. FCMN is going to be team no exits opponent, I believe.
It's gonna be a tough one. This is both of the if am I remembering this correctly, is this both of the sculptor players or was that team CC?
Team CC, and yeah, that was Team
Ah,
CC for sure. I think both sculptor. No, okay. I do not recall which team is Mimi Mumu from though. Oh,
Team Mimi
FCMN is
Mumu might
below.
I recall FCMN, yeah. FCMN
But
is where
I
Mimi
mean
Mumu is.
CC is gone, so
Yeah, so now we only have Mimi Mumu as the sculptor player. Team HLT is actually gonna be let's see. They're probably gonna be going up against Team Any since Team
I would
FCMN is
imagine
in
it's
the
against.
lower
I would
bracket.
imagine it's against Team Any too, and we'll probably have Wolfgang against FCMN at the bottom, if I'm correct.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're waiting on them. Yup, HLT. The WYS versus Team Gao, HLT versus NE, Sky versus PPD, and finally FCMN versus WG.
Yup, and that is that. Those are the brackets for this match decided. And
Definite.
are we gonna chat a little bit more, or are we
Yeah,
gonna?
yeah. I'll probably wait till them have the screen show up or whatever. So, anyways, yeah. So this like we have seen a lot of action. Moving on to best of 3, we'll probably see the teams play more at different hunters, and we'll probably have a more of a feeling of what exactly is this meta. Even though like the band pick rules work differently here, we probably will see the teams pull up more stuff, and I'm excited to see more of them.
Yeah, all of the specialty hunters are gonna be out more. We're gonna see Mimi Mumu's Galatea get banned, definitely. So we're gonna see what other hunters
But
Mimi Mumu might play. Aside from that,
um,
we've seen other hunters that have preferred non-meta, like Corona's Breaking Wheel.
yeah, but the thing is that I don't think that would be banned because remember, global bans exist.
Mm-hmm.
Global bans exist, so they don't have to waste they don't have to ban it unless Mimi Mumu does not play in BO1.
Yeah, perhaps they might not have Mimi Mumu play BO1, perhaps in BO2 because BO2 tends to be a lot more decisive.
Yup, definitely. So moving